Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alexandria Diaz. I was Deputy Ignacio Dan Diaz's daughter. I am. Not sure how well I'm going to keep my composure during this speech, but here I am. First and foremost, I would like to acknowledge the Diaz and Waller family throughout this tragedy that we've all experienced together. We got to meet for the first time this morning, and it was an instant camaraderie and just connection between the pain that we've all felt this week. Secondly, I would like to acknowledge the law enforcement and organizations who have been here throughout the week, supporting me and my family, as well as the Diaz and Waller families. I would like to start with Sergeant Scott Yoder. I've known Sergeant Scott Yoder my entire life. He has been a pillar to my family this week. He has been managing all three families, running around like crazy, and yet still keeping a smile on his face, cracking jokes, and making everyone feel good. I would also like to give a special shout out to Deputy Dave Barone. Dave Barone has been another pillar for our families this week, offering any help that we needed at any time of the day, calling every single day to see how we all were doing. I would like to thank PBSO as well as the Broward County Sheriff's Office, who have been there since day one. They actually escorted me from Fort Lauderdale Airport all the way to St. Mary's to see my dad in the hospital. Growing up as a child of a law enforcement officer, as well as anyone who's in the life of a law enforcement officer, we all have the worst nightmare, the call, the knock on the door, but nothing quite prepares you for the day that it actually comes. Last Thursday, it was my grandmother's birthday. I woke up to wish her a happy birthday, and the next call I got was a call that I had to get on the plane immediately because my dad had been in an accident. Naively, I was told he was in surgery, and I thought that I was going to be coming into a hospital with him waking up and being able to talk to him. Sadly, that was not the case. Nothing prepares you for these moments. Nothing prepares you for what that's going to feel like. During this time, I've been told by many people to be strong. My strength has always come from my dad. My dad has been my strength my whole life. He's a single father. It's been him and I my entire life. So throughout this week, I've just been channeling him, thinking of him and the things that he would want me to do. I was actually offered to not speak today, and I thought of my dad and how he would tell me to not give up and to go ahead with it and not be scared and face my fears and go along with it. Another common theme of the week is people asking how I'm doing. That's been a hard question to answer. Usually, you would answer with the nicety of, "I'm doing well, how are you?" This week, I haven't been able to say that to, I think, a single person, even though I've tried. I think the best answer that I've managed is, "I'm doing." That's it. I want to tell you a little bit about my dad, even though people have already spoken about him. My dad was born on March 26, 1973, in Catalina de Guines, Cuba. He grew up on a small farm until 1980, when he came here on the Mariel boat lift with his two sisters and his mother. Our family is very small and very tight-knit. My dad always had a passion for law enforcement. Since he was 6 years old, he's always wanted to be a police officer. Shortly after graduating high school, he went to the academy. He graduated in 1996, where he soon after became hired with Palm Springs Police Department. He then became the first motorman for Palm Springs Police Department and paved the way for their motor unit. Shortly after that, he was hired with PBSO. He was so excited. He did road patrol there from about 2004 to 2008 in District 3. He then moved on to DUI, where he thrived. He received MAD awards every year. If you're not familiar, MAD awards are Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It means that you make over 100 DUI arrests every year, and my dad got one every single year. Every day he'd come home from work, and I'd ask him what his new number was. He would update me. At the beginning of the year, it would start with 1 to 10. By the end of the year, it would always be over at 100. In 2014, my dad went back to his roots and joined the motor unit at PBSO once more. He thrived there. He was amazing. He was known for his skill and his tenacity, his precision. He would send me videos all the time of him at motor school, doing the courses, doing the tightest turns with the cones. I didn't really get it at the time, but now seeing it in action, seeing the escorts in action, it's amazing what these men do. A little more about my dad is he was an amazing cook. He made a mean chili, he made great scallops, and he loved a sweet treat. He was a lover of animals of all sizes, from the smallest little frog to a big scary snake. He loved them all. His dream was to retire, go somewhere with Shariska in the mountains or somewhere, and have a small farm again. My dad was kind, so kind he never used the word hate. He would always tell me, don't say hate, say you dislike something. He said that hate was a nasty word and that it filled your heart with evil intentions. He was fiercely loyal to everyone in his life, to me throughout my entire life, to all of his friends. He was very honest, so honest that you would really have to know if you wanted to go to him for advice, because he was not sugarcoating anything. He was funny, insanely funny. He could make anyone laugh. He gave everyone a silly nickname. As I already mentioned, a lot of boo-boos are in the room. A lot of girls are in the room. Another thing about my dad that I think I'll take with me forever is that he never accepted failure as an option. My dad could try something a million times. He wouldn't stop until he succeeded. He would carry that on with me. He would never let me give up on something until I succeeded. He persevered no matter what. And that was something that I always admired about him, was his strength, his perseverance, his ability to never give up. After the passing of one of his best friends, Donovan Burry, which I believe his family is in the room with us here today, something in my dad switched. He became a firm believer of how life was so short. He really took advantage of every single day. And every day he would say something like, if something happens to me, and I would tell him, stop talking about that, please. Never in my life did I think that I would have to be standing here in front of all of you today giving a speech about my dad. Never in my life did I think that I would have the week that I've had, to have to make the decisions that I've had to make at 24 years old on behalf of my dad. My dad treated every day like it was his last. He loved getting on that bike every day. Coincidentally, this was his favorite time of year because it wasn't hot. He loved getting on the motorcycle on these days. I would also like to thank President Trump for being here today. He took great pride in being part of your motorcade whenever you were in Palm Beach. He loved it. He always talked about it, and he always looked forward to it. I would like to leave you guys with some words today that I think my dad would carry on and want to carry on, and that's that life is short. Treat every day as if it's your last. Tell your loved ones that you love them every single day. Don't sweat the small stuff, and never accept failure as an option. And to my dad, to my daddy, we had a saying that we said to each other my entire life, and I've said it throughout this entire week, to him while he was in the ICU and at his private service. I would love you. You're my life. You're my world. You're my everything. Thank you, everyone, for your time today.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Caballero. I was Deputy Dan Diaz's oldest nephew, but he felt like more than an uncle to me. He treated me like an older brother since before I can remember. He was always there for me. I want to start acknowledging both the Waller and the Paez family. I know we're all on the same boat, and it's a sad boat, but thanks to the PBSO, Sheriff Bradshaw, thank you guys for everything. Getting to the hospital, being constantly surrounded by everyone and everything that we could possibly need to try to get through these tough times. It meant the world to my family, and I'm sure words can't describe it. Thank you, President Trump. My uncle, I always got a picture of him with you, no matter what motorcade it was, no matter where it was. He made it a point to send it out to me, and he truly respected you. And thank you to the community itself for the outpouring that we've had. I've had friends, colleagues, people I've never met before, just knowing that it was my uncle, that it was Alexandria's father, just reaching out, offering, whether it's a prayer, we're lighting a candle, we're going to be there for you. It shows the lives that he touched, both as just a man and as PBSO. I took a while at the hospital there the entire time, and I surrounded myself with the good. I didn't try to dwell too much on the negative and what was incoming. I used it as a blanket of all the good that I had from him, from he treated me like a little brother to he gave me my first Nintendo when I was 5 years old because he was playing it and he's like, I guess you can have it now. So he should have been studying for his exams and he was doing that instead. Whether it was going to my school lunches when I was 5, 6, 7 years old up through middle school. He hated the school lunches, but he'd sit there with me because he knew showing up in full uniform put a smile on my face. Every honor roll breakfast, he was there just to make a scene. He had to show up in his crisp white just to know that I was there, and he'd stick out in the crowd and it put a smile on my face that I'll never forget to this day. He got me into, like they mentioned, into cigars, and he got me my first set, showed me how to smoke a cigar. I used to smoke cigars thinking of him, and that won't change moving forward. I had one the other night just for him, just thinking about him yelling at me like your mom would hate me for getting you into this, but it's something that I'll carry on 100% through my life. Then there was the birth of Alex, and I remember the look on his face and the pride that he had, but also him pulling me to the side and going, this doesn't change anything, you're still my boy. And he treated me the same. He took us both everywhere. And it was like having a second father. It was like having a brother I didn't have. I was an only child. And that really sticks out to me, introducing him to my friends saying, you know what, I kind of see where you get your sense of humor from. And it's Danny. His sense of humor was a one-of-one, just like him in general. The word proud wouldn't begin to describe what I thought of him. And he said the same about Alex and myself and our family. That he always, no matter what it was, whether passed the driving exam, got an A on a random test, he's always like, I'm proud of you, boy, I'm proud of you, Alex. And I know we were beyond proud of him. I molded myself after my father and after him. Those were the 2 points in my life that they were the 2 pillars that put me where I'm at today at almost 34 years old. And it'll carry me well into the future because you can't forget Dan. I think back to the things that will never leave my mind, and it brings me solace in what it meant to me and the ones that we love the most. He was a one-of-one. Anyone that met him, whether friends of mine that met him for 5 minutes, friends that grew up with me, and we'd go to his house and hang out and go to his parties, and they're like, yeah, you know, never met anyone like him. And he carried that into his career as well. He was very decorated. He took it so seriously that it's a shame it's the way he went out, but I think it's the way he would have wanted to go out in the uniform. He introduced me to my favorite movie when I was probably too young to see it, and that's going to be my closing remark, is what we do in life echoes in eternity. And these 3 lives that we have lost, I can guarantee that they will echo in eternity. Thank you.